Hello, folks. Just wanted to give you a quick kind of tutorial on how to work your way through D2L, as well as how our class in particular works in D2L, okay? So this is your homepage in D2L. You'll get some notifications. These are mine, and I get somewhat different ones than you would get as faculties, or that I get as faculty that you would get than you would get as a student. So just recognize that this might not quite look exactly like it, but it'll be pretty darn close, okay? Couple things up here. There's message alerts. My recommendation is to, and then there's subscription alerts. I don't find either of these super useful. Subscription alerts, if you do make a comment in a discussion post, this can give you a notification that someone's responded. The message alerts, there's no email inside D2L. We rely on Prairie State email for that, so I would tend not to use it. The bell here will actually show you all new content. It will show you new information. That's an interesting and a useful one to pay attention to. So if you see something there, it's generally a sign that something's been added, okay? As you scroll down here, you will see your courses. They'll be noted down here, okay? You can obviously pick our class out of there. That's not a problem. And then they'll also be listed up here. You can go through your list. I have lots, obviously, but you can go through, pick classes, and the thumbtack will pin them to the top of your list. So I always just set like my semester 4 classes or whatever up right at the beginning, so that I've got my classes right at the top, and then I can just toggle between classes up here. Okay. Just a quick explanation of how that works. Let's go ahead and get into our class now. So I'm just going to go ahead and go into class here. We'll go into this one. Okay, so come in. Announcements will be right here. These announcements are incredibly important. There will generally be one every week, but it will show you exactly what is kind of going on, kind of give you directions. So right now, come to class, watch this, and then head on to content to get started. And again, I will generally give you a quick notification each week of kind of what's going on. Okay. However, I want you to use the content area, which is up here, as your primary source. Okay. There are a few other things. You can click this at any point. It'll open a new window up and allow you to schedule an appointment with me. Once you do that, I will go ahead and add Google Meet video conferencing to it, and it'll go on your calendar and my calendar, and we can just chat. Ask a Librarian, we'll be using the library a fair bit in class this semester. So when chat's open, you can actually go straight there. There's a calendar down here. It will typically have things that are due coming up. Every once in a while, I have a student who will just pay attention to the calendar. They'll come in, they'll go like, okay, this is the stuff due on the 14th. They'll do it, and they'll never look at anything else. Well, of course, I have lots of content, okay? And so in week 1, there is more than just what shows up being due, okay? So once you come over to content, this is what you're going to see. Over on the left-hand side, general course info. My contact information, our class syllabus, the class schedule. That class schedule will definitely remain the same for the next 3 weeks, what we call Unit 1, our first unit. I'm going to make a few tweaks to Unit 2 and Unit 3, and so you might see a few changes in the schedule for upcoming units, but for the current unit, nothing will change, okay? Just to give you a heads up there. Technology requirements for the class. This is just a folder of tech how-tos, so if you're running into any issues, head here, okay? I'll come back to weekly content in just a second. Student resources, this covers everything from D2L, how to use classes online, disability services, veteran services, the Prairie State Library, the Writing Center, advising and counseling, financial aid, the help desk, tutoring, foundation, okay? All sorts of different student services, things that we might need to make use of over the course of the semester. Then finally, there is a quick thing here called Feel Like You're Drowning. If at any point during the course of the semester you're really struggling, you can click this link. It'll kind of walk you through some steps as to what to do. I am always here to help, so please don't hesitate to reach out to me first and foremost. Okay. Let's go ahead and go into weekly content real quick. You'll see we're in Unit 1. It lets you know that Unit 1 runs from January 13th through February 3rd. I generally will give you access to these units a couple days before they actually begin. Once that they begin, the entire unit will be open for you. You can work ahead if you desire to. A lot of the things are kind of build on each other, and sometimes you need feedback from me. So if it's a situation where you need feedback from me and you want to work ahead, reach out to me. Let me know that you want to work ahead. Let me know where you are and what you need feedback on early, because I tend to sit down and give feedback kind of in chunks when stuff is due. Over the course of the semester, Unit 2, 3, and 4 will pop up too when we get to them. So February 1st or so, you'll probably have access to Unit 2, and then that'll be about 4 weeks. Unit 3 will be about 5 weeks, and I think Unit 4 will be about 5 weeks as well. Okay? So you'll see each of these units will come. Within each unit, if you click over here, you will see that there are additional folders underneath it. Now, anytime you're in one of these, so there's Unit 1, and then there's a folder for each week, and then there is an end date, okay? It doesn't look like there's anything there. Pay attention to these triangles over here. They expand and contract folders. You can open and close any folder this way. So if it doesn't look like there's anything, check to make sure the folder is actually all the way opened, okay? Really common problem students run into the first week. You always navigate into these folders from over here. You can see the content in one in the main screen, but if you click over here, it'll open this folder in the main part of your window. Kind of a quirk of D2L here. Now, each week there will be a brief explanation as to what we're going to do this week, and then there will be a to-do list. If there are due dates during the week, I will list those. Otherwise, everything is expected to be due on Monday at the end of the week. So, or Tuesday if it says that, or Wednesday or what have you. In this case, it's Monday. It'll sort of depend, but it'll become clear. If it doesn't say anything, just the day of the week that you have assignments due is when everything for the week is due. Okay, so otherwise it will actually note some specific dates in here. It'll give you an explanation of what to do. Then, of course, we get in here, and as much as possible, I do try to put these on the calendar. There'll be a link to everything you need to do on this list will exist down here, unless it's something you don't do in D2L. Like if it's an email or something, I might not be able to do it. But just to give you an idea of why it's important to not just use the calendar, I don't have all of these videos put a due date on them, okay? That would make your calendar just insanely long, for one. It would cause some problems there. So, these are things I want you to look at, but they're not things that I would necessarily stick in the calendar, which is why you've got to come to content to get everything. And again, there's always going to be an explanation here that ties to what we've got going on here, okay? I do try to put things in folders, so if there's this week, for example, there's a section on Essay 1, there's a section on writing annotations. I put them each in their own folder. Once you're done with one of those, you can contract that folder and kind of keep it out of your way, make it nice and clean, okay? This right here will track what percentage of this week's work you've actually clicked through. Doesn't mean you've submitted it, merely means that you have clicked through it. I do kind of hope that you'll be generally at about 100%. Sometimes, like, there's an optional thing, and you know, if you don't use that, that's fine. But I am hoping that you guys are going to be clicking through the majority of our content there. Okay? Just a real quick tutorial before we finish about how to deal with stuff up here. Obviously, every time you come to class, look at the announcements, but then come straight to content. Everything else, there are things here. For example, there are discussions here. Whenever we have a discussion, and we don't have any discussions in the first unit, we've got a discussion starting in Unit 2, but whenever we have a discussion, I'm going to link it in the content section, so you don't ever have to go to communication and then discussions, okay? If we were to have a chat or something of that sort, again, I'm going to link it in the content section. So by and large, you shouldn't need to do this. The one thing here, if you do want to send me or one of your colleagues an email, you can do it through this function. Just recognize there's no internal email, so when you send that email, it's actually going to go to my Prairie State email account, and when I reply to you, it's going to go to your Prairie State email account. So as soon as you send a message through there, it does pop out of D2L and move into Gmail. Just to understand how that works. Again, same thing here. Quizzes, surveys, assignments, everything you need to do the class, I'm going to link in the content section in your weekly work. Okay, you will not need to go back to any of these for that. Just click the link that I give you. For example, let me think. In writing annotations here, this is an assignment that you're going to turn in, this article annotation. You can get to it by going to assessment and assignments, but it's much easier to just get to it by clicking off the link in the content section, okay? The one thing you can't get to that you might want to get to here are your grades. If you go here, it will actually lay out all the grades you've completed in the class and your score on them. You're going to see there's a lot of stuff out there yet. Some of these I may not use. Don't lose your mind if I don't end up using all of them. Not a big deal. But it will just show you everything that you've done so far. Okay? I'm going to go back to content real quick. So that is the assessment tab. Attendance and locker you do not need to worry about. Locker is just some file storage, and I actually think it's easier for you guys to be using Google Drive if you're familiar with it. So I think that's everything you'll need to know for the class, by and large. Just focus each week on these to-do lists, and every single week there is a video that walks you through everything you need to do that week. Please watch those. Every once in a while, I have a student who's struggling, and I'll be trying to figure out why, and I will go into the back end of D2L, and we can see literally everything you do in D2L, so I know what you've clicked on, what you haven't clicked on, how long you watched a video for, whatever. And I will suddenly realize the student's sort of lost because they haven't watched those videos where I've been explaining all of this stuff in detail. So, just as a quick tip, watch those videos each week. They're going to be immensely helpful to explaining what you need to do. Okay? As always, if you've got any questions over the course of the semester, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help.